You know, getting around a huge city like Chicago, it's like trying to solve this massive, complicated puzzle. Every trip, every event, every airport run, it's another piece that has to fit just right. So, how does a really top notch ground transportation service actually pull it off? Well, let's take a look under the hood.
So that's the big question, right? How do you solve this transportation puzzle for literally every single occasion you can think of? I mean, just imagine the logistics. Getting a CEO to that crucial meeting, a whole wedding party to the perfect venue, or a group of friends to a concert safely. Every single one of those is a completely different high stakes challenge.
And that's the thing, the needs are just, they're all over the map. We're not just talking about a simple ride from point A to point B. You've got everything from urgent airport transfers to once in a lifetime weddings, big group trips for concerts, or a game. All these totally different needs, and they all have to be handled by one single, super reliable service.
Okay, so if the problems are that different, the solutions have to be just as custom, right? And that brings us to really the first huge piece of this whole puzzle, the fleet. It's like they say, you can't use a hammer for every single job, and you definitely can't use just one type of car for every transportation need.
And wow, this chart right here, it's basically their operational toolbox laid out for us. So you've got your classic luxury sedan, perfect for an executive flying into O'Hare. Then maybe a big old luxury SUV for a family with a ton of luggage. For a whole corporate team heading to a conference, the executive sprinter is a no-brainer. And then you get into the big stuff, party buses and coach buses for those huge celebrations or company outings. Having this whole range of options means they can tailor the experience perfectly right from the get-go.
But having the right ride is really only half the battle. The service itself, that has to be tailored for completely different worlds. And we can pretty much break it down into two main categories. You've got business and you've got pleasure.
Yeah, this slide really shows you the two sides of that coin perfectly. For business, it's all about pure efficiency and professionalism. We're talking corporate accounts, meet and greets at the airport, stuff like that. But then on the fun side, it's all about creating amazing memories. Weddings, proms, private city tours, you name it. A truly great service has to be a master of both.
Okay, so we've got the vehicles, we've got the different types of services, but where do they actually go? I mean, how far does this network stretch? Because really, the whole point of a transportation network is its reach. It's got to be more than just a tiny little area.
And for a place like Chicagoland, that service area has to be absolutely massive. It's not enough to just cover downtown. You have to be able to get way out into all those surrounding suburbs, north, west, south, all of them. It's got to be a true hub-and-spoke operation.
But here's where it gets kind of wild. The reach doesn't even stop there at the metro area. It actually goes across the entire Midwest. 6 states, that's Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, and Iowa. That's what takes a company from being just a local service to a real regional logistics powerhouse.
All right, so let's recap. We've got the fleet, the services, and this huge area they cover. But what about the most important part? How do you actually build trust? Because in this line of work, reliability is without a doubt everything. So what goes into making a customer feel totally confident? Well, for one thing, it starts with experience. We're talking over 35 years in the business. Think about that. That's decades of dealing with Chicago traffic, handling crazy airport logistics, managing huge events. You just don't last that long by accident. You earn it one reliable trip at a time. And the other huge pillar of trust, it's got to be the person who's actually behind the wheel. And that's where a super strict vetting process is so important. This is not just about finding someone who knows how to drive a car. It's about guaranteeing safety, professionalism, and just total integrity every single time. And you gotta understand, this is like a multi-layered safety net. First off, every single driver has to be commercially licensed and professionally certified. That's the baseline, but then it goes way beyond that. Regular drug testing and really deep background checks. This whole 4-step process, it's completely non-negotiable. And honestly, that's what separates the real pros from everyone else. And you know what? All of that hard work, all that diligence, you see the results directly in what customers have to say. Just take a look at this review from Darren Vigent. He says, I would recommend them 100%. He arrived on time, the vehicle is very clean, and the driver was polite and courteous. On time, clean car, polite driver. Punctuality, cleanliness, professionalism. That's the payoff for all that work they do behind the scenes.
So when you boil it all down, the perfect car, the exact service you need, a driver you can trust, what are you actually buying? It's so much more than just a ride. The real product, the core value, is peace of mind. It's that feeling of confidence, knowing that the transportation part of your day is the one thing you absolutely do not have to stress about. So I guess I'll just leave you with this final thought. When that whole complicated transportation puzzle is completely solved for you, when everything is seamless, reliable, and totally professional, what else are you now free to focus on? Maybe it's closing that huge business deal, or celebrating a massive milestone, or maybe it's just, enjoying the ride. That is the real value.